Welcome back to another video, everybody, and hope you guys are all enjoying your first day of November. And what's a better time to start November with Tropical Storm Ida forming, which now makes 2020 tied with 2005 for most named storm here. This is our 28th named storm this year, and 2005 had 28 named storms all together. So we are one storm away from beating 2005 to be the all-time most active tropical season ever. And what is a better time to do that on the month the season ends, obviously in 30 days. So this is just a big update on Tropical Storm Ida. It is now heading for the Central America area and expected to become a hurricane before landfall. And then a few global models do show taking a northern boomerang turn, heading for Cuba and heading for areas like the Bahamas and even Florida. So we're gonna be really intrigued about the system as it's going to act together quite quickly here. So I wouldn't doubt that this does really try to get it to act together very soon here. But before we get in the video, please subscribe if you're new, hit the like button and post notification icon. But without further ado, let's get in the video. So here's now at the National Hurricane Center. This is the latest update here on Ida, and there it is at 40 miles an hour. Let's actually see. All right, there we go. 40 miles an hour. And there it is at 1,005 millibars and moving west at 15 miles an hour. And this thing's moving in the most favorable waters right now, and that is the Western Caribbean. And we did see that obviously with Zeta. How it did start to really strengthen those warm waters and taking advantage of the Western Caribbean. And now Ida comes in after and going in a very similar track, except this time it's going to be going actually towards and making landfall in Central America, most likely Nicaragua in the Honduras border. We do have hurricane warnings for those areas, but it's moving west at 15 miles an hour, so it is moving quite quickly, but it is going to be taking advantage of those warmer waters. If it was moving a lot slower, boy, oh boy, this could have been a lot stronger before Central America, but it is moving at 15 miles an hour, so moving pretty quickly as it is. Obviously with the tropical depression last night, and now there it is. I mean, it's looking pretty organized on convection. This is RI. This is not satellite imagery. This is IR, which is looking at the total convection there, and this is actually really showing there is quite a bit of center vorticity, because the more the convection, really the more the vorticity starts to really get its act together. We do have some pretty nice banding here. You can really see some nice banding on the outflow, and you can kind of see the inflow coming in here. Obviously, it's not the most organized, but we do got that center convection right there. So we do have that LLC, that low pressure there. But there it is, right there. There's that kind of center north, that all that convection right there. And we're continuing to see a big blow up in convection. As you see, just recently we're seeing a bit of a blow up right there. So it's really interesting to see how this went from kind of a invest yesterday, then to a tropical depression, and then now to a tropical storm this morning. And there it is. I mean, look at that. That's got some nice convection in the center. You really start to see some kind of stretching the banding right there. You can kind of see it. You can see the outflow right there. But yeah, you can really see this does have counterclockwise spin to it. So that's kind of what you're going to be seeing here. You want to see all four quadrants that have counterclockwise spin. If all four don't have spin, then it can't be fully tropical. I do see here, here's another look, and this is actually satellite imagery here. So as you do see, it's a better look at it. You can kind of see a lot clearly. There's that center right there with the most amount of convection there, and then there you see this outflow right here. And this is gonna avoid Jamaica. This is gonna avoid any other areas except for areas like Nicaragua and Honduras. So I mean, you got the nice outflow there. You can kind of see the inflow. I mean, it's got some nice inflow to it right there. It's going to allow that outer banding to be more defined. You can really just see this counterclockwise spin right there with allowing that inflow to spin like that. And then you can kind of see some more banding getting this way. It's just the way you can tell by banding is just the way cloud cover is kind of condensing and blowing up in certain areas, like these general areas right here. Actually, this general area right here. So it's not the most organized tropical storm, but for being an invest yesterday, it's looking pretty good. So here's the latest National Hurricane Center update, and we now have hurricane warnings for the Nicaragua coast, for the northern Nicaragua coast, and for the border with Honduras. So the far southern Honduras coast is as well under hurricane warnings, but we also do have tropical storm warnings for areas like the southern Honduras coast, and hurricane watches as well for the southern Honduras coast there. And you do see this is expected to continue going westward until around Monday, 7 a.m. So it's like I said, a fast mover, and then it's gonna kind of go kind of southwest a little bit, or like kind of west southwest, kind of going a little bit more to the south like that. So gonna take a small little dip to the south, and that's gonna bring bigger impact from Nicaragua there. Expected to make a landfall as a hurricane, and then going inland as a tropical storm. And obviously we do have very mountainous areas right here, so it'll rapidly weaken into a tropical depression. The thing is, once it makes landfall, models are showing it coming out like that. And it's not just one model showing that. There's a ton of global models and a ton of computer models showing that. So there's a chance this does kind of do a boomerang turn and goes north towards Cuba and the Cayman Islands. There it is, making landfall around a 60-hour mark. So there it is, going kind of west. They're going slightly to the south, making landfall, and then kind of do a boomerang turn to the north. We do have AVNI, AEMI, CTCI, TVCN. We kind of also TVCX as well are showing that. And then we have the HMNI, and then we have not so accurate models such as Hawaii, HWFI, which is Hawaii. UK models isn't the most accurate as well. CE2, I mean, those models aren't the most accurate, and we've seen that throughout the year. Even with Zeta alone, we saw how inaccurate the UK model was, and we've seen throughout the year how inaccurate the Hawaiian model was, and not many people really call that a reliable source, the Hawaiian model. So it seems that the most reliable models are showing that northern turn, like CTCI, pretty accurate throughout the year. AVNI has been kind of it's kind of been even with kind of it's at disaccurate or inaccurate with accuracy as well. But there's definitely a chance this can go to a northern turn, which is why I'm a little bit concerned about it. I do have a bad feeling about the storm. I don't know. I just really have a bad storm, or I have a really bad feeling about the storm. Not necessarily for Nicaragua and Honduras, but for after that, like if it does that northern turn, I have a really bad feeling, because that means it'll go through all these warm waters again, plus the warm waters in the Caribbean, plus the warm waters in the Bahamas, and that's just not a good sign there. That's not a good not ingredients as well. I mean, there's a lot of moisture in those general areas. So if it does do that northern turn, which I mean, there's a decent amount of models showing it. And not seeing that the National Hurricane Center is trying to show that, but like that, maybe. But there's definitely a chance for that to happen. Let's check out now the intensity guidance, and there it is at 40 miles an hour. And expect it to just really just blow up like that, so become a hurricane as early as the next 24 hours, or as late as the next 36 hours. So this will be a hurricane tomorrow. And then we have two models getting into a category 2 there. Two models getting into a category 2, and the majority are sticking at a 75 mile an hour, or sorry, at an 80 mile an hour hurricane to a 85 mile an hour hurricane. But we do have a few models getting up here, which is around 90 miles an hour. So, like I just said, I think it'll stay as a category 1 for the landfall for Central America. But if it does that northern turn, I think it could definitely exceed category 1. So like I've been saying, mentioning those really warm waters, this is exactly where Zeta This is where Zeta kind of blew up. Not necessarily RI, but it did really get some strength here to become a hurricane before entering the Gulf. But yeah, this thing has been going through warm waters the whole time. So it's around right here. I mean, it's been going through all these warm waters to allow it to become a tropical storm already. And then it's got all these waters left to come, so it definitely will become a hurricane before Central America landfall. If it does kind of do that northern turn like that, that's going to go once again in even warmer waters with 30 degrees Celsius there, 29. And that's going to be a pretty long distance. And I do think that if it does do that northern turn, it will come out slower. Because if it's going to make landfall on the mountains, it will definitely affect its speed there. So, obviously, the northern turn isn't guaranteed. But it's definitely likely. It's definitely likely. But as of now, the most likelihood is that all we really know, really for sure, is that it's going to make landfall in Central America, or like for Nicaragua there, as a hurricane. But now let's go check out now the global models. So here's looking at the global models of the GFS, and this is actually one of the global models that are showing that northern turn there. As you see, they do predict the landfall there by November 3rd, which is 48 hours from now, or actually making landfall in 66 hours. They show the GFS isn't making landfall in November 4th as a 990 millibar hurricane. As you see, it did get to 983, but I guess the GFS is showing it kind of really slowing down right before landfall. And then they show it coming out as a 1,005 millibar system and going northward, hitting Cuba as a 996 millibar, either really weak hurricane, a strong tropical storm, and then making landfall in the Keys as a 997 millibar system, and then just kind of staying in the Gulf. And then they get to stay in the Gulf, and then they kind of just like show it dying and like going back into the. I mean, it's really weird. I mean, this is kind of what they're showing here. They're kind of like showing it stalling like that, and then they're showing like this, and then it's like this, and then it's like this. But I mean, that northern turn is kind of what I'm saying. Like it does not necessarily go for Florida, but goes for Cuba, and goes for the general Bahama region. But let's check out the CMC, which is also showing the northern turn there. They show making landfall at 986 millibars in 60 hours on November 3rd, bringing extreme rain and flooding rain for Central America, and then coming out at 1,006 millibars, and then making landfall in Cuba at 1,001 millibars there. Let's check out now the Icon as well. So the Icon's still reloading there, fully reloading, but makes landfall at 997 millibars. Rather weak, of course. It's already at 1,005 right now. And then it kind of comes out. There it is. It comes out on November 6th at 1,006 millibars. So that's Icon. That is GFS. That is CMC. All showing that's coming out and doing that northern turn. That's to the GFS Para. And this is showing making landfall at 970 millibars at 60 hours. And then as well coming out and making landfall in Cuba as 983 millibars. And making landfall in Florida as 974 millibars. And then striking in the Panhandle at 972 millibars. That is a lot of landfalls based on the GFS Para. 1 for Central America. 2 for Cuba. 3 for Bahamas. 4 Florida, and then 5 Florida again. I mean, that is a really, really weird track going straight to the south like that, then coming out, making landfall, and then boom. I mean, that is a really, really weird track. That is extremely weird. But I mean, that's GFS Para. I mean, that's 4 global models we've looked at, and 4 out of 4 do show that northern turn there. And let's check out now the Hurricane H-Warf on Ida. So let's check out the hurricane models here to see exactly how strong they predicted getting before Central America here. If I can actually move my screen like that. There we go. So there it is. The next kind of few hours, they just actually really strengthening and making landfall at 948 millibars. That's what they show. That's what the H-Warf shows. And then the H-Warf also shows it coming out. And let's check out now the winds that they have for this. So let's actually move that way. They kind of show up to 90. They show on landfall 87 knots. So that's just under 100 miles an hour there. And then let's check out now the H-Mon, which is another hurricane model. Let's check out Ida there. They are showing it a lot weaker though, but making landfall at around 973 millibars, but not even having hurricane winds. So that's quite strange. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye guys.